Welcome to the Mic is Hot with my pops DJ Thomas.
I say greetings from Atlanta, Georgia. It is the Mic is Hot. We're back on the show. We're live right here in Atlanta, Georgia. I got my good friend, my co-host, my man, Bigtime on the other end. Before we come on, Bigtime, I'll say a couple things about the mic. This is one of Atlanta's hottest podcasts in the state of Georgia, and I'm your host, DJ Thomas, where we talk sports and ATL. So tell a friend that the mic is hot right now. And I also want to remind you guys out there that Mic is Hot has just been promoted, and we're live right now. We're live on iHeartRadio, Facebook, YouTube, all these places. Let me go back and get my topics right quick. Here we go. iTunes, TuneIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and newly iHeartRadio. So we're stepping up and doing big things for you. Look forward to seeing you at the tailgate, something coming up soon. But without further ado, folks, I want to introduce my main man, Bigtime. Bigtime, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? Good evening, Big Ben. Glad to be on the show with you, man.
Hey, my man.
Always to have a good song.
It's your world, I'm just a squirrel. You know what I'm saying, dog? It's your world, I am just a squirrel.
No, everybody living. If you want to living, you got just as much an opinion, and you look just as good and sound just as good as anyone else. But it's always a lot of stuff going on, and it's always worthy of having a conversation about it.
And you're right, it's a lot. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it does help all of us when we talk about these things.
Absolutely, man. Again, we always say here at the Mic is Hot, everybody has an opinion, and your opinion is not necessarily right or wrong, but you have a right to express your opinion. That's why we do it here on the Mic is Hot. One thing I want to remind you guys as well, we're looking at also adding a third line. So if you're listening to us live, you can call in. It can give your opinion on our opinion, because all it is one man's opinion. Isn't it right, Bigtime?
Yes, sir. Sure is.
So listen,
it means a lot, man.
It means a lot. So listen, we got four topics tonight, four hot topics. This is going on right now, and we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL. We might jump into the NBA if we have time. But one of the topics we're going to talk about tonight, not necessarily in this order, the NFL rule on tackling. Also, with Julio Jones not showing up for camp, will affect the way the Falcons play this year. Number 3, the president's decision on not allowing the Eagles to come to the White House. And number 4, the NFL decision on kneeling at the ball game. The NFL made a decision to piece right there. Let's start off with that one right big time. The last one, I know you want to hear the one about Julio, but we'll get that last and wrap that up because I know you get fired up about that one. But what's your take on the NFL decision on players not being allowed to kneel? I think they told the players if you can, the only option you have is you can go in you can stay in the locker room and not come out, but you have to kneel or you will be fined. What's your take on that, Big Dan?
Oh, that's a tough subject there. Let me say that first of all. You know, when Kaepernick bought this out, I never thought that this would get as big as it is. And what has made it to this level is the president has weighed in. I'm 100% against his involvement with this, because what he essentially did is taking advantage of the opportunity of a moment where this should be a chance for us as a country to get better and elevate and talk about and address potentially a problem that is being brought about against people of color. I believe that the NFL made a reasonable and compromising decision when they said players who don't want to protest, who do not want to respect the flag by standing putting your hand over the heart, or doing anything that would shed a negative light on it. The owner said, we will ask those players, if they want to stay in the locker room. And if they do stay, and however, those that's on the field must stand and give honor to the flag in a traditional way. I think that's a pretty good decision.
Now, was it stand or just not disrespect the flag? I thought maybe I heard it differently. I thought they said
not disrespect it. You know what they were basically saying, to my understanding of it, is that they could not come out and kneel and do anything of a gesture, because there could be a lot of other areas of things that the players could do that would still send that message. But what the owners have said to the players, if you decide to do anything other than what is traditionally done, that is, stand, give a moment of silence, recognize the national anthem as it's being played. If you do anything other than that, we will demand that you stay in the locker room. You stay in the locker room.
Now,
I think staying in the locker room, Dennis, will be just as much of a message, or a greater message, to those atrocities brought against people of color than it would to be going on the field acting out by kneeling.
Yeah, I agree. But let me ask you this, but let's make it clear. It's not the team that's finding, it's the NFL. Because from my understanding, I heard somewhere else in the media that one of the owners said that if my owners or coaches said, if my player decides to kneel, I'll pay the fine. Are we correct on that?
Yes, the team will be fined.
Okay.
The team will be fined, not the players. The team would be.
All right. Do you think?
And he was correct. One of the owners have said whatever fine. I think it was one owner. I think Philadelphia, and I think it was the Miami Dolphins. But I know it was one owner who already said whatever fine his players can do.
It wasn't Jerry Jones, was it?
No, obviously it wasn't Jerry Jones. But that is correct. Understand? I think that's a good compromise. Now, many would argue that isn't enough. And I think, Dennis, and in fact, I know you and I have had this debate off the air, where you raised some good points when you said you are still not allowing the players to do what they have the freedom,
that constitutional right. I agree. There's freedom of speech
to do.
I'm going to let you finish, but I'll tag in on that and give you my opinion.
Expand on that. Go ahead and expand on that conversation that we've had.
Everybody has the constitutional right of freedom of speech. And again, I'll say, and I'll express this, and I want to try to slow down and say it so people can hear and understand. And I know this podcast is going out there, and I know probably people in the NFL, the Falcons, is listening to it because they want to know what the people are saying about this. And again, before I get too far ahead, I want to make sure if you're listening to this show and you have an opinion, text me your opinion. Go to the Mike is Hot. Go to our website and send me your opinion. Or if you listen to the show live, just text us in, and I'll guarantee that if you don't get a chance to speak, I'll say what I'm trying to say. I will make sure your opinion was heard. Okay. What I don't like the idea of the NFL trying to shut the players down. I said before, and I said to you before, it's a peaceful protest. And it's about injustice. I said again, Colin Kaepernick kneeled and said that there's a lot of injustice in this country, and he used the platform during the national anthem. He wasn't rude. He took a knee. He's not the first one that took a knee during the NFL, but for some reason people wanted to jump on him about it. I mean, back in the day, I've seen many players during the national anthem taking a knee with the helmet off and just respecting the flag, because he was not disrespecting the flag. Let me say it again. He was not disrespecting the flag. He was down. He was kneeling. He was sitting down, or he was kneeling down. So again, I go back to what I said before. People are taking this out of context, and I'm not going to say who it is. You know who I'm talking about, and many others know who I'm talking about, because they're always jumping in NFL business and sports business when they need to stay out of it. Stay out of sports business and deal with your own business. Deal with politics. So I think, like you said before, staying in the locker room will make a bigger statement than coming out, because, of course, the sportscasters, they're going to say, well, where's so-and-so? He must be still in the locker room. He's making a statement. And I agree. But I don't think this is the end. Just because you told the players they can't kneel, I mean, that's not hurting them, and they're not trying to hurt the flag either. That's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that either. But you asked me, I think the other day, what should happen. And I think what should happen, the NFL needs to decide to give fair time, some type of protest, not necessarily protest. They need to have a week to recognize injustice. NFL need to, teams need to, just like they got the, what's the week called? Breast cancer week.
Breast cancer awareness. They do the military week.
Yes.
They even do another organization. They give a tribute to it, and I agree with that.
Exactly.
Because here's what the owners were trying to do. This is why I agree with this approach. What they have, you cannot rule out one side over another because it's going to hurt one side or another.
Right.
If I have said that correctly. So what you got to do is come up with a plan that will accomplish satisfying both sides to an extent. There will always be people who would totally disagree with any side as long as it's not their total side.
Exactly.
You can't please everybody, but you cannot go up here and say, we're just going to discount the angry fans and say we're going to demand this without giving rise to it. So what the NFL tried to do was what I said earlier. I think that will work, given the fact that a lot of fans were unhappy with what the president and many other white Americans, and I don't mean to be disparaging in saying that, because the numbers does show that the majority of people who believe this is a issue against the flag is mainly white, and vice versa for African Americans.
Uh-huh.
Well, you have to give rise to both sides, and they have said again, if you simply want to show some form of a protest, just stay in the locker room. Once the national anthem is played, then you come out. Guess what, guys? Guess what, audience? That's the way it used to be years ago. It used to be years ago that players didn't have to come out and get ready till the national anthem was played.
Well, I got you. Big time.
Everybody got to come out and do it. So we got to just.
Big time.
This is going to hurt both ways. Go ahead.
I understand what you're saying, but my problem with this is they're trying to quiet. There's a problem. There's a problem, and Kaepernick and others are trying to bring up to front that there's a problem with injustice. A lot of things going on. So the NFL answer to that is, hey, look, just don't come out. Just don't come out. They didn't say we're going to try something different. They said, hey, look, hey, if you want to kneel, just stay in the locker room. In other words, they're saying you can't kneel there, but just stay in the locker room. No. I said again, no. Listen, hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. We need to have something else because what's going to happen, you think you stopped it. You didn't stop it because now they're going to come up with another way to protest, to show injustice. They're going to come up with something else, something the NFL doesn't have to show injustice. So instead of them coming up with something else, the NFL need to say, look, we're going to meet you guys halfway. The players union, what do you guys want? What do you want from us? What do you want us to do? We respect that. We understand that.
By saying stay in the locker room.
Stay in the locker room saying, hey, no. You telling me to stay, hey, look, man. No. I disagree again. I can say you can't.
If majority of your customers, if a large portion of your customers, which is the fans, saying, I have a problem with the ruling that you made, then you got to honor that.
Most of these people are not even fans. Most of these people don't even watch football. These are NASCAR fans or whatever. These guys don't watch football, man. Football fans. I heard the guys that said the other day that he wasn't gonna watch nothing. You don't watch football anyway, man. How many people you know that are serious, down-hard football fans gonna stop watching football because of a person kneeling? Come on, man.
And you're right. And you're right. That number a lot of times is exaggerated when one person or two people come out and say, I'm not going to watch. I think the love of the game is bigger than this issue. And there will be many people who probably will say they may not watch it, but when that football game starts to play and their team is competing on Sundays, they're not going to continue the likelihood. We don't know that. We can only go by what we will do. You're right. It's not going to go away.
It's not going away.
It has to be some medium, and I will guarantee you this topic will continue. But right now, I think the decision was best made by the NFL because, again, it's about the money.
Right.
It's about the bottom line. If this thing doesn't come to some type of resolution, you don't want the majority or big-name players start to say, you know what, I'm not going to show up at the games. I'm not going to show up to practice. I'm not going to do whatever I should do, even though my money could be affected. These guys are millionaires 10 times over.
Yeah.
They can withstand losing some money.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure many of them would take the fine if they had to.
Yeah. Especially the owners start the band together and say, I'm going to pay for the fine.
The owners are going to stick with the players. The players are making money for the team. The owners are stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I can understand they're kind of stuck there. You got to support your players, and also you got to support your fans because the fans are the one paying to come to the ball game. So I can kind of understand what the fans are. I mean, the owners are. But of course, like I said, we can talk about this all night long. But I just want to bring it up, and I want to hear the people's opinion. I want people to email me on Facebook and Twitter and say, hey, listen, Thomas, we heard the show and we agree with you. And I guarantee you the next show, we're going to talk about it. And hopefully when I get this other line up, then we'll be able to have you guys that listen to us live. You'll be able to come in and give your opinion live because people are listening to us. I don't care what people say. We on too many outlets out there right now. And we're talking sports and we have real talk. We're not beating around the bush, and we don't work for a network, and we're not Muslims saying we can't say anything. We can say what we want to say. Am I right, Big Time?
Yes, indeed. And let me add to that, everyone. This is not fake. This is not fake news. This is not BS. This is coming from two brothers' hearts. What I say is what I believe, and I believe Dennis has the same type of opinion.
Exactly. We're not getting a paycheck from nobody. They're trying to tell me. I'm not going to call the guy's name, but one of the guys from one of the networks told me we were at a game and something happened to one of the players, and this team happened to be the flagship of their network. And I asked him, I said, well, are you going to talk about that tomorrow? He says, shoot, man, I know who my paycheck come from. See, that's not real. That's not real talk. But anyway, we're gonna jump to another subject. Since we already on the topic about the president and people making decisions, the president decision on the Philadelphia Eagles not to come to the White House. This guy actually believed most of the players wasn't going to show up anyway. But let me just give it to you, Big Time. What's your take on that?
Well, let me say to everyone, I do not have as much respect for the man in the office, but I have ultimate respect for the office.
There you go.
I'll say that again. I have ultimate respect for the office, but not as much respect for the man in the office. However, he was voted in by the majority of people, and he is the president of the United States.
Okay.
Having said that, I totally disagree with some of his actions, and in particular to him disinviting or uninviting, if I said it correctly, the players that come to the White House. It has been a tradition
many years
that players visit the White House after winning a championship. As everyone knows, many players over the recent years, particularly started with Obama, didn't go to the White House. There wasn't much controversy around him not going. Let me remind everyone, Tom Brady decided not to go, and he used a reason. We don't know if it was true or untrue. This is what he said. He had a family issue. He didn't go to the White House, I don't think, either time that the Patriots won while President Obama was in office. But the controversy sitting around this guy is not just about the reason people didn't go. It's about the person in the office. I think players have a right to say, you know what, I don't have to go. And I think because these players, the majority of these players, wasn't going to go to the White House, the president made a decision to put it out there that you are not invited. And what he was really reacting to was the fact that the players have already told him, I'm not inviting myself.
They wasn't coming. They wasn't going. They wasn't going. And this is not the first time, like you said. I mean, they did it when Obama was in office. Last year, the Golden State Warriors, several players didn't go. And they have already said in the press conference, which I heard earlier today and yesterday as well, that if they won, they wasn't showing up again. So I mean, this is nothing new. This is only somebody trying to get credit for. It's like I'm telling you, you can't come over my house. You're gonna say I wasn't coming anyway. I mean, it's kidding. And first of all, again, I said before, I think some people need to worry about politics. We got a lot going on here in the world, in the country, and just stay out of sports. I mean, that's just my opinion. I wish we would stay out of sports.
But let me ask you this. Let me interject this. I wanted to ask this question when I had it. How do you feel about players who decided, given we just said, and both agreed rather, that this was a tradition that's been taking place for years? And I could imagine that back in the day when many players did go based on the tradition, there were a few of them didn't want to go.
Right.
So how do you feel for guys who now taking the direct and open stance that I am not going? If they, given the fact, and this is what I say to a lot of my colleagues, a lot of people who are against my stance, a lot of people who stand with my stance. And keep in mind, let the record reflect, I stand strong about what I believe, regardless of how much opposition I receive. It's an office that you respect. If you're going to respect the office, and it's been a tradition that you should go to the White House after winning the championship, how do you feel then when players who openly say, guess what, I'm not going because I don't like the guy that's in office? Isn't that can be considered disrespect to the President of the United States as well as the office?
Well, I would say no. Unlike yourself, I respect the office. The United States of America, I respect the flag. I respect everything it stands for. Just because I have a right to say I want to go there or not. If it was me and they invited me to the White House, I wouldn't go either. Because if I think everybody, going back to the same topic we had before here about kneeling, people have a right, man. We have constitutional right, and traditionally it's been a thing where people go to the White House. It's to see the president, to shake his hand, and all this good stuff. But if you don't feel good about it, man, don't go. And like I said again, let me make sure I'm clear. I respect the president. One thing I do is I pray for him, the decision he make for this country, and I just pray because there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, he's in the office and he was elected and he was put there to do a job. But that doesn't mean I have to like exactly everything he does. But I pray and hope that he gets everything right. I mean, he make the right decision for this country. So. Yes, again, my answer to that is I wouldn't go either, and I think people have that.
Well,
we have that right.
What if you been? Just say if you a player on that team, or say if your company you work for, and they decided to say, Dennis, everybody in the office, we going to the White House. We want everybody to go. We want to show numbers. We want to show respect to the office, and you gonna get paid, or it's a pleasure that you go, or you whatever. Wouldn't you feel obligated based on what your employer?
No, because I mean they booed the NFL commissioner. I mean, and that's probably been opportunities for people had the opportunity to go see the commissioner or whatever. But people decided they don't like him for whatever reason. I mean, they respect his position, but people have a right to go or not. You can't make me go to something that I don't feel I don't feel comfortable there. Because if I'm there and I'm not comfortable, I mean it's going to show. And it might be where like people in the media, like a lot of players, when they get interviewed, and a lot of them don't want to do the interview, but the only reason they do interviews is because they have to. I was watching LeBron earlier today doing an interview, and he was looking like, I'm not really happy to be here. In fact, I watch what's the coach from Cleveland, and the first thing he did was he sit down in front of all the media after losing last night. He sat down here with a big sigh. Like, man, I really don't want to be here. You can see it all over his face. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, he didn't have a choice.
That's part of the NBA rule.
Right.
That's part of the NBA rule that you have to sit down
exactly.
afterwards.
Exactly. But it's not a rule to say you have to go to the White House. But it's not a rule that says you have to go to the White House.
Yes, right. It's a volunteer thing. And I don't think an owner who's true to the heart of his players.
Right.
And regardless of how much they are and how much they work for you and they are a product of or whatever they are to you, they are still human beings that have a decision to make. So on that topic, we would agree that the players have a choice, and the president, believe it or not, some of his actions, I will say this, and this is aside from what we're talking about, but it's related to the same president. I agree with many of the things that the president has done, but I don't agree with nearly none of his tactics. And in other words, I don't agree with the way he does things. The way he does things is concerning to me. And the way he does things is causing some of these players to do what they have done.
Right.
Starting with the Philadelphia Eagles up to the Golden State Warriors last year, and they've already said that they're going to not go again. In fact, I saw the coach of the Golden State Warriors having a conversation with the media last night, speaking very openly and negatively about the president and some of his actions. Not the personal. No one has a personal vendettiveness against the president. It's his actions and the way he go about doing things. And you can respect the president, but you don't have to like the president.
Exactly. And that's what we do. We respect the president. And like I said, this my conversation is nowhere. I'm not saying anything negative about our president. I mean, everybody has their opinion on how they feel, and that again goes back to what the show represent: opinions. All right, hey, listen, I think we hit that topic pretty good, and we're gonna jump on out here. I know we don't have all night to talk, but let's jump on over to the number one topic. We're gonna say Julio Jones for last. The NFL rule on tackling. The NFL came out with a new rule saying that you can't lower your head and strike a player, and if so, you can be fined and thrown out the game and all that kind of good stuff. But my problem with that is players been taught all your life from little league all the way up to the NFL and you know to how to tackle, and it's always lower your head. Now if you're a running back, I think it's more to the advantage of the running back. If you're a running back and you're running and you lower your head, then you know, it's always said if you don't get lower than the runner, if you don't, you get trucked. So what do you say about that, Big Time?
Well, I'm gonna give you a classic example comparing this rule change as it relates to the NFL. I'm going to compare that to auto racing. Auto racing is almost a dying sport. It is a dying sport, and I say it's almost dead. And the reason that it's almost dead is before the stock car or NASCAR changed their rules about protecting their drivers and making their cars safer for their drivers, they had a lot of their main drivers to be killed over the years. They had a lot of main drivers that were literally killed on that track. And it took those drivers to be killed before the NASCAR decided to clearly make these cars in such a way and demand that these drivers be in these cars in such a way that they would ensure that these drivers wouldn't come away being killed. Even to the point now where these drivers, even bad accidents, don't even get injured. The NFL had to make this type of move because the players wasn't dying on the field, but the life and the way these players were left after they left the field, when it started to get out how some of the main players, the fan-loved players, were having to live their lives, the NFL had to do something. You had players like Emmitt Smith. You had players like Roger Staubach. You had players like Calvin Murphy. And I can name a host of other players who put out that they were sick, having double vision, having certain atrocities brought in their family, in their lives, going after football, and there was no way the NFL would be able to have continued to allow the guys to potentially be hurt in the game and particularly after the game if they didn't do something. So having said all that, I agree 100% with what the NFL did. And I think, in fact, they need to do more of it. And I think as time moves on, you will see more of it. Because you cannot withstand having star players again hurt after the game is over. And taking the second thing, the NFL right now, there's over 1,500, it's been reported there's over 1,500 players in a class action lawsuit that the NFL going to eventually have to pay out billions of dollars based on the fact that they did a lot of wrong with these guys, knowing that the results of what would have happened what has happened. So they had to do it. That's why they came up with the concussion protocol. You know, they had to do that. Then they moved to, you had to tackle guys a certain way. Before the concussion protocol, they changed the rules as it relates to hitting the quarterback. Again, they could have did that to players, other position players. Why they did it to the quarterback? Well, obviously the quarterback receives the most hits, but also the quarterbacks are the stars of the team. You cannot have your stars walking around hurt when they need to be on the field. You cannot have your stars year after they leave the game, they walking around having multiple sclerosis and other ailments coming from injury. They had to do what they did. I agree with it 100%, and I also believe that there will be more rules and regulations as we move forward.
Okay. Are you done? This is football. This is football, man. This ain't tiddlywink. Why don't we just go out and buy a belt with 3 flags or 4 flags on it and tie it around everybody's back? And when you don't hit anybody, you just pull the flag off, and wherever you pull the flag off, that's where they stop. I don't have a problem. I agree. So, there are some things, just like in basketball and baseball and some other sports, there are some things that should be done to protect the players. But this particular rule that I'm speaking of, I don't really favor that one. I don't really favor that. I understand protecting the quarterbacks, make sure they don't get hit after and been hit, above the waist or whatever. I understand those things. But in football, now what you're telling me, if I'm a running back, I can lower my head into a tackler and run over him, and he can't lower his head to tackle me. He got to tackle me straight up. He pretty much have to grab me. He got to grab me. He can't hit me with his head. And this ain't elementary school or middle school football. These guys are moving pretty fast, and the way the jerseys are worn, it's kind of hard to tackle someone. You're gonna probably have more touchdowns, more runs. Because it's almost impossible to tackle someone that's running. You ever try to catch something that was moving real fast? It's hard to do. I just don't like this particular rule. There's some in there I do like. There's a couple more rules they got out. I think one's on the kickoff, how the people up on the line, they can't move forward until after the ball is kicked. There's a couple more new rules out there. And I favor some of these new calls. But this one, if you're going to say that the defensive guy can't hit the person that's carrying the ball, he can't lower his head to hit the person carrying the ball, then you need to make sure the person that's carrying the ball, if he lowers his head, because a lot of time I seen a couple of occasions where the running back or the runner lowered his head down below the defensive person, and the defense person got called for it. So I'm anxious to see. I'm anxious to see how this is going to work.
If I stand corrected, so let me interject this, D. If I stand corrected, if I'm correct, I don't think the running back can lead with his head anymore. He can't lead with his head. And if I'm incorrect, and I don't think I am, the offensive player is often and more likely than not is at the disadvantage when there come the impact, because he is trying to elude the run, the hit, and the defensive player is trying to put the hit on.
Right.
So you got to be favorable to the guy who's likely to receive the worst from that impact. It has been said that every time the player is tackled in the NFL, it's like a car accident. That blow is just that hard. I don't know if you familiar with the terminology in car accidents. It's called centrifugal force. Centrifugal force means that if a car hits something at 40 miles an hour, the impact is like at 80 miles an hour. The impact is double when the hit is made. A car can be traveling at 40 miles an hour. When it hits something, that impact simultaneously, the force of it is double what the speed of that vehicle was. The same thing applies to players. If players are running at 5 miles an hour, when they hit someone, they hit each other at 10 miles an hour. That's dangerous. They got to do it. The NFL got to do it. They did it with the kickoff return. They've made the kickoff return virtually now where there's basically no kickoff. They move the ball to the 35 or 45. Most kickoff now gonna go in the back of the end zone. They did that by design. You know why? Because they knew that most of the injuries came when guys were running 100-yard field. They take off running full speed, hitting each other along the way, all going after one person that has the ball. When they get to that guy, they running at the top rated speed. Most of the speed from a stance is about a 5 or 10 yard sprint, particularly the interior line. Most of the speed is on the outside players like the receivers and the tight ends. So, but so there a lot of times isn't a lot of direct impact in that. You got more torn knees and ankles and legs in an interior line. But on a kickoff or a punt return, you got to protect the product. If you don't protect the product, you have nothing to sell. I use the example again. That's what happened to NASCAR. You can't sell what you don't have. People don't watch that game for average players. They watch that game for well-known players who are more talented and who are doing more that makes me enjoy it. They got to do it. I literally want to see more. Yeah, I do agree with you that you can't take the fundamentals of the game away, which is tackling. Bring a guy down to the ground. That's a fundamental of football. But you got to do it in such a way that you can keep your product on the field. If you have no product, you have no sport.
I hear you, man. I mean, I hear you. There's just one rule, I guess. One rule that I guess we're going to say I agree to disagree. And I mean, it's I understand the safety of the players is first. And I played football most of my life, little league all the way up to college. And I was unfortunately, I was the one that didn't make it into the NFL. But I had a lot of hits. I've had a concussion myself during the league, and there's a lot of little things out there. And if you're talking about decisions being made, I tell you what. Let's jump over here real quick. If you're talking about sports, baseball has a pitcher can hit a batter, and nothing's done about it. To me, that's one of the craziest calls I've ever seen in my life. I can't understand how this man is throwing this ball 90 miles an hour and or faster, and he's hitting people, and some people are going to the hospital for it, but and nothing happens. It couldn't be me. But I mean,
but they don't do it deliberately. They don't do it deliberately.
Sometimes they do.
If a pitcher hits a guy deliberately, that pitcher can be tossed. If it's a deliberate. Now, one thing on the plate, one thing a batter has a responsibility to do. If he doesn't do that, then that doesn't make that throw a legal throw. That is, that batter has to try to avoid that pitch, unless it's just unavoidable. Because if it's unavoidable, that means that pitcher, if he's accurate enough, he can hit that batter anytime he wants. But he does it in a manner that doesn't seem as though he's directly doing it. So that's why you have a fight there, or the pitcher, the rather run to the mound.
Well, the pitcher knows. The pitcher knows it.
Or give the pitcher.
They
don't give a pitcher the right. They don't give a pitcher the right to hit a batter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when a pitcher hits a player more than one time, in a ball game, well, yeah, that's here and there. That's another topic for another day. But I watched baseball too. It was one the other night that the guy he got hit, but he got hit. I can't remember his name. I don't know if you saw it. He got hit. The first time he got hit, he went.
To make an effort. That batter has to make an effort to avoid that pitch. He just can't stand there and saying, "Okay, I want you." The batter see the ball just like the pitcher throwing the ball.
So like what we talking about in football, I think the pitcher need to be held to a higher standard, because this guy, he's a pitcher, and when he makes mistakes, I mean, it's pretty much known when these guys make a mistake. But it was some beef between the pitcher and the.
There's always a ball.
This wasn't a wild pitch. This wasn't a wild pitch. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm not going to ride on that one, but I'm just saying that the calls and the decision being made sometimes I don't think is always the best. I think something needs to be done about that. And we could go to the NBA, but we don't have time to talk about it tonight. And that's going to probably be on the next show, the NBA Finals, because that thing could end this. By the way, let me ask you this: Do you think Golden State will end this thing on Friday night here?
I believe it will.
You believe it will?
I believe it will. I think we'll know the answer to this question about the beginning or middle of the fourth, because I believe if it's close, well, no matter what has happened prior to it being close, if it's about halfway through the fourth and it's a close game, I think Golden State has enough power to put it away. If it's not close, for whatever reason, then I think Golden State will basically say, you know what, we ain't going to try to get nobody hurt. We know we're going to take it at home and we can enjoy it before our fans. Either way, this series will be over either Friday night or Monday night.
I believe it'll be over with Friday night. I just think, to add to that point that you made is I think that LeBron is one man, but it's just Golden State has too many weapons, three powerful weapons that can shoot threes and that can spread the court, and it's just very difficult for LeBron to kind of defend. He can only defend one man at a time, and when you got a guy in the corner shooting threes, I mean, it's that difficult.
But I want to let's touch on our guy here. This is a very touching topic with me.
Hold on, okay.
I've been waiting since it started to talk about it.
That's why I held it for last.
And all the listeners really tune into this one. This is very touching with me.
Will Julio Jones not showing up, or Julio Jones not showing up for camp, will it hurt the Falcons' chance this season? Talk to me. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Go.
Yes. Well,
and why?
Let me say this. It will hurt the Falcons, yes. And why I say it will hurt the Falcons, yes. Because, number one, if he doesn't show up as he has not done, now keep in mind, every practice they've had so far has been voluntarily. There has not been a demand. I think a demand practice was let me retract what I just said. It has been one mandatory practice, OTA, which stands for off the field training.
If I understand, it starts on Monday. It starts on Tuesday, I think it is. I think the mandatory starts on Tuesday.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected. These were all voluntarily.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, even having shown up, it hurts the team because Julio and Matt Ryan need as many reps that they could get in as possible. They need it. Now, the offensive coordinator said today that, and he was trying to put a Band-Aid on a problem. We know it's a problem now.
Yeah.
By saying, well, by him not showing up, it gives the other guys more chances to catch balls and get acclimated to the team. BS. Your number one receiver need to be there. That's one way to hurt them. Number two, it hurts the team, particularly if he doesn't show up to this mandatory, because now we got a storm around the team. There's a controversy around the team.
I disagree.
And that's probably big, and that's probably bigger than him him need the practice time. Because why? Here's a guy who has been a Falcon, has never, ever, ever had such a controversy around him, who's always been a stellar guy off the field by not saying nothing, doing his job. Now, all of a sudden, ever since you picked up this receiver from Alabama, ever since Matt Ryan got his contract, now that the Falcons are basically came out and said, here's what we feel about you. We make a move that's advantageous for the team. But here you standing over here, Mr. Jones, saying, well, how advantageous it is for me. What about me? What about me? What about I? There's no I in team. And lastly, I'll say this. You won't guarantee money. He has said what he wanted. He's basically said there's no problem. But we all know what he wants. Yeah, you won't guarantee money and you want more money. Either or, you have 3 years left on your contract. Now, many will argue that plenty of guys does this. Another colleague of mine argue this all the time, who has been on the mic. All other guys does it. What's the problem? Guys, this is not a team win the Super Bowl or getting ready for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is a Super Bowl team that need to be acting like a Super Bowl team.
And
Julio Jones, you are not acting like a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, well, Matt didn't know I had a problem with it, right? Excuse me. When Matt did that, no one had a problem. But let me say it. Let me give you my take, and then you can add to that. First of all, the Falcons know there's a problem. I understand when they get in front of the camera, they only say certain things. They got to say things because they don't want to upset the fans. There's a lot of strong Julio fans out there. They don't want to make people think that Julio's going to leave or they're not taking care of Julio. The Falcons need to go ahead and find out what Julio needs. I'm pretty sure they probably know by now. Find out what he needs. If he wants an extension, which I don't think he really wants to, I think he wants a guarantee. That's my opinion based on what I know about Julio. I think he wants to get guaranteed for the next 3 years that he's going to get his money, that he's not going to get cut in the next year or so. They gave your boy all this money up here, and you know, we think, and the other person you said that's been on the mic before, we don't think he deserves it, and a lot of fans don't think he deserves it. But that's here, not there. But what I'm thinking is, you know, Julio saw what happened to Roddy White. Roddy White was still in his prime. There's a lot of players that gotten hurt under this quarterback that we have right now, and there's no guarantee that, you know, he won't get hurt the next couple of years. And so he feels that he's a prime top three receiver in the NFL, and that he deserves the respect and the pay in his category. But the way we did Roddy White, they rushed him out the door for no reason at all, and he can see the writing on the wall. These players talk in the offseason. They talk about what's going on. He knew what was going to happen in the draft before it even happened because he started making moves at that time. But the point I'm making, the Falcons need to take care of this. They need to go ahead and take care of this problem because you know what? Hold on one second. Matt Ryan needs Julio to get his timing down. Let me say that again. Now listen to me before you comment. Matt Ryan needs Julio to get his timing down because Julio runs a route, and Matt knows the route Julio is going to run. Matt needs to know how fast and where he's going and when to throw the ball. Repetitionally, to do this over and over again has his timing down, and he's perfected it by game time. Julio don't have to do nothing but run a route. So Matt really needs Julio there. The team needs Julio there so we can have this timing down because every time when Julio is on the offense and he walk up to the line of scrimmage, guess who everybody's looking at? They're looking at Julio. And 2 years ago, the year they went to Super Bowl, Matt was taught, when you're going to pass the ball, read off Julio. If Julio's covered, if the safety comes over to Julio, go to number 2 man. So a lot of stuff like that. We need to have our timing down with Julio and the other receivers in the ball game. I agree with you. I can agree with you. I can agree with part of that, but not all of it. But at the same time, don't waste time just like you did with Matt Ryan. Take care of this man. I believe he'll be back next week, but I don't want him to come back and be salty. I don't want him to come back just being back and going through the motions because he has to be back. That's not helping the team at all. And one thing I've known about Julio ever since he's been a Falcon, he's quiet. He don't say a lot. He's not the kind of player that's gonna say something in the media and piss people off. Even though he went up there and did something with Cam Newton and participated in a charity event, people went crazy. He was out west; they went crazy. Well, this is not mandatory. This practice was not mandatory. But I do believe with all my heart that Julio will be here next Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, what day that mandatory training camp starts. But I think the Falcons need to take care of their star receiver. I believe with all my heart that if he's not asking for too much, which I don't think he is, that Arthur Blank will take care of him. Arthur Blank said to the media, "Hey, look, Julio's going to be a Falcon for life." So Arthur Blank like Julio. I saw what he did with Michael Vick and rolled him out of the field. No. I think Arthur Blank will take care of Julio. As long as he's not. I don't think he's. I'm asking the question.
Like you said earlier, when he got to get in front of the mic, they're gonna say what they're supposed to say. I don't give rise to what they're supposed to say when actions are different.
I saw what Arthur Blank did for Michael Vick, and he went out his way to try to protect him, even though he got in a little trouble.
Well,
I think Arthur Blank will take care of his players, man.
I understand that, but do you think this controversy is based on Arthur Blank? You think if
not Arthur Blank
to get out? But let me say this: if the Falcons, I don't think Arthur Blank go in there and say, okay, whatever player want or whatever player say, I'm gonna go in there and do that. Everything he does is for the team. Well, don't you think that this team, the ownership group of this team, coaches and everybody, don't you think they would have said, guess what, if we don't want this to get out, we're going to do what we need to do right now? You know why they haven't done that? Because they're saying, wait a minute. We can't go in there and change your contract to the detriment of the team.
Why can't you?
You know, to the detriment of the team. No, you can't do that because, you got in 2 years. The biggest responsibility this team's going to have to do is to keep their defense intact. You're going to have several defensive players who came in the league on a rookie contract, and they're going to now be at a position where they're going to demand big money.
They shouldn't have gave Matt Ryan all the damn money.
Lee, it's either here nor there. Well,
yeah, it is a problem now. Now it's a problem because now you don't have any money. Now you can't pay your star receiver because you gave your quarterback all the money. That's a problem. What you just said. What you just
was already fucking signed. They signed him several years ago.
Matt Ryan had another year on his contract. Why don't we just wait another year to see what he's going to do? Huh?
He inked his contract 3 years ago, and you cannot. That's just like me as an employee paying you at the beginning of the year for your job. Which jobs don't do that in regular job, but that's how NFL players and athletes get paid. Before they do their job, they sign a contract and say, here's how much money we're going to give you. Okay, but this player, after a year into the contract, then it's going to come back to me and go, well, Eddie, you know what? I don't like the amount you gave me and I agreed that I received. I think I want more. And Eddie going to go as an owner of a company. Okay, then I'll change it up. You know why the Falcons wouldn't have done that? It said before the draft? Because they didn't have a guy just as good as Julio or have potential to be just as good as Julio. The Falcons got leverage now. The Falcons got leverage. It's called Calvin Ridley. That's what they have. And this is part of what making Julio so doggone upset because he knows that. He knows this dude is bad.
No, he needs to.
And he knows that this is the fact.
This kid has.
You cannot come back in the middle of a contract. The Falcons got to do what's best for the team. Despite how much you don't like Matt Ryan, let me say this, Jay. Despite how much you don't like Matt Ryan,
who said I didn't like Matt Ryan, man? Who said I didn't like Matt Ryan?
Say what I have to say.
I said they shouldn't have paid him all that money. That's what I said. If you have money problems,
people out here that deserve that he doesn't.
I said you said they're gonna have money problem playing all the players. I said they shouldn't have gave it all to one man. That's what I said. I didn't say I didn't like Matt Ryan.
I am going to say this. It doesn't matter whether you like Matt Ryan or not. You and many, many other fans, and I'm not beating the other fans up because they have a valid argument. There is a huge concern among the fan base that Matt Ryan was paid for something that he hasn't done yet. But guess what, people? Matt Ryan's the most valuable player on the Falcons. He's the most valuable player like most quarterbacks on their team is. Guess who the most talented player on the Falcons? Julio Jones. But talent don't win over most valuable. Because I don't care how good Julio Jones is, he can't get the ball unless Matt Ryan throw it to him. They don't hack the ball to Julio Jones, they hack it to Matt Ryan. So you doggone right Matt Ryan should have got what he got.
No.
Because if you're going to roll the dice and say, hey, Matt Ryan, we're not going to give you your money now, and he go through next year, have the same type of year, and he come back to the Falcons and say, okay, you're not going to give me $150 million, I want $200 million now. What the Falcons going to do? Say, okay, I'm going to give you $200 million.
If he got to prove it, man, he got to prove it. No, you can't do it. Matt, that wouldn't have been a problem. No, he has not proved. He has not won a. I'm not going to make this about a Matt Ryan conversation, okay? Now, well, I'm going to just say this one thing and I'm going to let it go because we're not. We didn't call it about Matt. Well, we talking about Julio. We're talking about Julio.
Matt Ryan is not stopping Julio from coming to practice. You said earlier I bought Matt Ryan because you said
Julio will be at practice when he's supposed to be there. He'll be at practice when he's supposed to be there.
Okay, we don't know that, D. You don't know that. D, you don't know that. If somebody had told you before this last episode of jumping off Facebook to hanging out with Cam to not coming up to OTA to telling the media, we've never seen Julio Jones do this. And where there's smoke, there's fire. and you gonna sit up here and keep convincing yourself that Julio Jones is happy, it is obvious he ain't happy.
Well, if he's not happy, listen. If he's not happy, let's don't disappoint the fans and let's let the team keep it moving. Hey,
Julio Jones.
Hey, hold on. Let me finish. Hey, if he don't want to be here, let him go. Let him go. Then we can move on with everything. Not put everything on hold because he's not here. I'm not saying that. The man's asking for something. If you can't give it to him, then cut him, let him go, or trade him. Do what you got to do. I'm not in love with Julio Jones. I'm in love with the Atlanta Falcons. I want to see the Atlanta Falcons win. I don't like a controversy. I don't want to see controversy next week if Julio Jones don't show up. I need the Falcons to take care of this problem this weekend, and next week on the Monday or Tuesday when training camp starts, mandatory training camp starts, that Julio Jones there and doing what he's supposed to do. If not, make an announcement Monday afternoon. Say, hey, look, Julio Jones is not here, and we released him or we trade him on. Hey, let's keep it moving.
You're not going
Kevin Ridley.
Why should you do that?
Man, I'm telling you my opinion. I'm not in love with one player. I want to see this team. This year was supposed to be the team. This year was supposed to be the year.
You can't ask the Falcons to release the man when he's still on the contract.
If he don't want to be here, no. If he don't want to be, they can trade him. Not release him. They can trade him. If he don't want to be here,
I understand that they'll do that.
You don't want to see him leave. You don't want to see him leave.
If Julio Jones don't show up to if Julio Jones don't show up to the mandatory practices. Every day he's not there, he lose money.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Julio Jones don't show up Monday. Julio Jones goes to the front office of the Falcons and says, hey, look, I want to be traded. What should the Falcons do?
Tell Julio Jones, we're not finna trade you right now.
So you rather have a disgruntled Julio Jones on the team.
What the Falcons should do, you asked me a question to say, no, Julio Jones, we're not finna trade you. Julio, what you need to do is get with your agent and get with us, and let's talk about trying to resolve this. That's what the Falcons need to do.
Well, that's a problem now. They need what I'm saying, they need to resolve it now. They already know what the issue is. They're not telling us. They already know what the problem is. And right now, the Falcons hadn't fixed the problem yet.
But I don't expect them to go in there with it. And when I just said what I said, I don't expect them to go in there and say, okay, whatever you want, the amount of money, we're going to give it to you. If it's something that they cannot do to the detriment of the team,
I don't think I honestly don't think Julio's saying I need more money. I think he's probably wants some guaranteed money.
You speculating? I'm
speculating, but I'm sure we'll find out about that. We'll find out next week.
Talk about what we know is happening. We don't know. Julio Jones told TMZ that there is no problem. He's training. He said nothing about contract. He said nothing about nothing.
And he won't.
This is what Julio Jones.
And he won't.
Said.
He's not supposed to.
Okay, so we don't know. So we can only go about what we're hearing and what we're talking about here. Let's say that there is a concern about his contract. We don't know what are the details of what he wants, but there's a concern about his contract. Here's what the Falcons should do. Tell Julio Jones, we're not trading you. Now, you're under contract. If you don't show up to practice, you don't have to show up to the game.
He can show up.
This team
but he don't have to perform.
Every day you don't show up, this is guaranteed. Every day he doesn't show up, we're going to take that losing money. He lose money. The Falcons don't lose it. The Falcons gain money when he doesn't show up because that's money they save.
If he shows up for practice and don't perform, I mean that's players have done it in the NFL before. So I mean, why would you hold on to a product that don't want to be here?
Find whether he's not performing.
Well, I'm saying why would you hold? Well, I mean they brought another receiver in for a reason. What was the reason they brought a receiver in? Number one pick. Why? You said it earlier. They brought another receiver in. This is not going to be ready for at least a couple years.
I'm simply saying, don't make a drastic move based on a reaction. Don't make a drastic move based on a reaction when you know in the short term, maybe not in the long run, it will hurt your team. I use an example of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And this is the same, even though this basketball is the same type of situation that you just asked me about, Julio. Kyrie Irving went to the Cleveland Cavaliers owner and said, I want to be traded. And you know what the Cleveland Cavaliers owner did? He traded him when this man had 2 to 3 years left on his contract.
Uh-huh.
Why would you trade your second best player on the team? Now, if you're going to do that, you must be getting something back in return that's equally as good or making the team better in the short term, or if not, in the long run.
They didn't really.
They traded.
What did they get?
They traded. They got garbage for him.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't get anything for him.
In the short run, they didn't get anything for him. Now they hurt in the short run, and then they hurt in the long run. You never trade anybody just because they ask to be traded. What you try to do, if you hope, is to say, hey, we're not going to trade you, or we're going to trade you, or whatever we decide. Here's what you hope that the player would do. Let's keep this in-house. We're not going to go put it into media. We can speculate all they want, but you don't say nothing, nor will we say anything, because you creating a cloud around the team either way. This is why I told you early in the conversation, if Julio does not show up to that mandatory training camp next week, he is creating a cloud over this ball club.
He'll be there.
And it ain't the Falcons who's doing
He'll
this.
be there.
It's he who's doing it. And you know why who's doing it? Because he's already under contract. I would be more in agreement with the Falcons and what you all are saying right now if Julio had a year left. Because right now, you at a point where, say, in a year's time, like Matt Ryan, you got to do something. You got to do something. Right now, we ain't got to do nothing. And guess what the Falcons got, on opposed to what they had with Julio Jones, had with Matt Ryan? They ain't got no backup for Matt Ryan. Right now, we got Sanu. We got another tight end, and we got a young rookie. Well, we don't know what he's going to do. They got leverage. So you ain't got to jump up and go, okay, Julio, you want to trade, or you ain't coming to training camp, we're going to trade you. No, you don't do nothing. You said, Julio, your contract says you're supposed to show up to practice. Training camp.
And he'll show up.
And you're supposed to perform at this level when you come.
No, it don't tell him what. It don't tell him what level he perform at. Only thing he's obligated to do is show up to practice like he's supposed to, and show up to the game.
He can't just go to practice. He can't just start the practice day and just go, okay, I'm here, but I ain't.
I mean, he can go to the drill, but you said, but he don't have to be at his top performance. He got rules and regulations in his contract.
Yes, and if he doesn't live up to his contract, they can fine him. How they fine him? If every day he missed, that's why I
don't think Julio's the type of player that will not show up for practice. I believe strongly. We're gonna find out. But I believe Julio will show up for practice. Right now, like you said, he's under contract. He has 3 more years on his contract. I believe, my opinion is, Julio needs some guarantee. Because right now, they brought a receiver in, and they picked up another receiver this week. They hired the first pick was a top receiver from Alabama, and I think Julio feels like, hey, you know what? They're gonna do me just like they did Roddy White. In the next year or so, they're gonna be like, okay, Julio, you got to go. I don't agree.
Argument.
Julio.
That's your opinion about Roddy White, but that's not a good argument because Roddy White was 34 years old, 36 years old. Roddy White was at the end of his career.
No.
And Roddy White had a chance.
It wasn't time for Roddy to go yet.
It was 2 teams. It was 2 teams from what I've read and heard that wanted Roddy White, and one of them particularly was the New England Patriots. The other team was a scrub team. What a whole bunch of people wanted Roddy White.
You heard the New England wanted Roddy White? I disagree with that. I don't know that for sure, but we'll talk about that off the mic because I need to see that. Because from what I heard from Roddy White, he said he's not going anywhere unless it's a team that's going to be a contender. If not, he was already getting paid. Why would I go to another team that's not contending for a chance to go to the Super Bowl? That's what that was his comment. But you said the New England Patriots wanted, and he know that was a contender. That don't sound right.
Let me tell you the number one reason he said that. Number one, he wanted to finish his career where he started.
Number one, he was still getting paid by the Falcons.
Number two, and you know what number 2 was? Father Time had caught up with him. You think Roddy White would have said the same thing if he was 22 or 23 years old?
I think Roddy White. I think if New England would have said we want you, I think he didn't want New England. I'm sorry. I disagree with you on that one. I mean, I heard his comment the same.
So what was it then? Was it money, or was it you just wanted to play with the Falcons, or were you pissed that you didn't get to go with? Well, why did he not play then, D? Why did he continue to play?
He was getting paid by the Falcons. He was still getting paid by the Falcons. He still was under contract.
But if you get paid,
so he said. I'm telling you what he said. He said, and I quote, "Why would I go pay for another team?" You know, he didn't say he was getting paid, but he said he wouldn't play for another team unless it was a contender. He had offers out there. If it's a team,
but it's his preference. It's his preference if he wanted to remain a Falcon. The Falcons said, you are not worthy of what we need at your age. We're not going to give you no fat contract at your age. It's a smart move.
That was one man's opinion.
Part of what here's what thing that I agree with the Falcons again. And I compare it again, and it's not a Matt Ryan conversation, but you got to compare it because when people talk about this situation, they always use Matt Ryan as an example under the circumstance which Julio is in. You cannot tell me, and if you don't want to use it, that's you and many others like you choice. The Falcons have the back of their mind injuries related to this guy. Matt Ryan ain't been injured. This man missed 2 games in 10 years. If Matt Ryan was banged up all the doggone time and hurt and never could be out there, you think the Falcons would have set up here and said, okay, we're going to ink you to $150 million? Julio Jones has been hurt ever since he come out of college. And the Falcons telling me going, wait a minute, we want to give you guaranteed money when you have been a liability injury-wise. This man has not completed a whole season in terms of missing some, even when he came to the game. This is part of why the connection between him and Matt Ryan. Yeah, it's largely Matt Ryan's fault, but he can't get into practices because he always stands on the sideline based on recouping some injury. And what we always say, and many will say, well, he's good enough, and that he's a veteran, and most veterans don't practice during the week. But dude, you need to be out there. You need to be out there. You need to be out there. Timing is the most important factor between a receiver and a quarterback. And Matt Ryan and Julio Jones' timing is not as great as it ought to be. And one of the number one reasons is Matt is not throwing the ball enough to him when there ain't no pressure on him. And you going to tell me you agree with Julio Jones still doing what he need not to do. Okay, I ain't going to get more reps in because I think I need a money problem. Get your butt up there. And the best thing that Shaquille said today, even though he was feeding to the media, I hadn't heard that before, but it makes sense. He said, every day he's not here, it means the other receivers are getting more reps. He said receivers with the S. You know who he was really talking about? Calvin Ridley. Because every day Julio Jones ain't there, Calvin Ridley is getting better and better. And the word is, he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job just as a rookie. Julio would get in training camp, the Falcons may not get his farm away on no guy that's 3 years away who's been banged up most of the time. I don't care how talented you are. Your talent is as good as you are on the field. You is as good as your last play.
And
what
big
he's
time.
did in the past don't matter not.
We could talk about this all night long. We're going to wrap this thing up. It's 11 p.m. in the big city of Atlanta, Georgia. Julio Jones, my opinion, he's truly the man for the Falcons. Julio will show up next week. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. This is not mandatory for him to be there right now. The controversy in the locker room, people are going crazy throughout Atlanta trying to wonder what Julio's going to do. Every day on talk radio, social media, it's about Julio Jones. Because people know without Julio Jones, the Falcons has no chance of going to the Super Bowl or even making the playoffs to some people's fact. But what I say is that he is the man for the Atlanta Falcons. It has been a powerful show. Big time. You want to have some closing words before I shut this thing down? I want to give you the last opportunity to say how you feel about this thing with Julio Jones. This Julio Jones. We ain't worried about Matt. Talk to me.
I think Julio needs to get in practice, do your job, and the Falcons are going to take care of you. And I also believe that this is going to be a very good year for the Falcons. If we stay healthy as a team and continue to play at the level we played 2 years ago, and our offensive coordinator really get a good grasp of this team and this offense, I really feel good about what's coming up in 2018-2019 season.
Ladies and gentlemen, big time. Thank you, sir. We're going to close it out right there. I'm going to walk on out of here. And we're going to let Mr. Aloe Black finish this thing out because I think Julio is the man. Thank you, big time. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right, man.
All right. Again, I say, this has been an awesome show. We're trying to cool down the mic. The mic has been on fire. Thanks again for my co-host, Mr. Big Time. Always a pleasure. We believe that everyone has an opinion, and your opinion should be heard right here on The Mic is Hot. Contact us at themicishot@gmail.com for your opinion. And next time we have a live show, we're going to want you guys to call in, and we're going to put you on live to give your opinion right here on the hottest podcast in the state of Georgia. I'm D, and we out.